everyone. And it looks like Miko is going to be joining me. So as you may have realized, we did not have our funky yoga pose on Monday. I was busy celebrating my birthday. So I decided to take a minute from that. However, because we didn't have that practice yesterday, I thought I would offer you a short, super short practice. Just showing you some stretches that you can do to open up your outer hips, okay? So it's gonna look like taking the hips through internal and external rotation, but the focus will be on internal rotation. So let's start seated with a little bit of hip mobility. So you're sitting down, you want your legs wide, straddle, about a straddle width, and flex your ankles. Hands behind you, fingers pointing outwards. And all you're going to do to begin with is take your hips through internal and external rotation. So rocking the knees to one side, internal rotation here, external rotation here, and over to the opposite side. Now, it does not matter if your knees do not come all the way down to the ground, just go to your range of motion. Okay, so if you find you get to this point, that's where you stop. Just continue to stay grounded and anchored in your breath as you move from side to side. If you didn't put your hands down, you would crawl right off of your mat. So that's why the hands are staying down. Good. Now the next time your knees come all the way over to your right, stay there. So flex the ankle on your right foot, push the edge of your foot down into the mat. We're going to place more of the focus on the back hip for now. So bring the back heel in line with the knee, and you want the knee in line with the hip. Up on your fingertips, or maybe your hands come to a block. Take a full breath in, lift the ribs up away from the pelvis, and exhale, spin. So you're going to squeeze that left buttocks and guide the hip more forward to bring the hips in line with each other, okay? Exhale, round it. Take another big breath in, lift up, and exhale, draw the shoulders back and down, draw your chin back. Lean forward, perhaps take the hands forward, and I'll lift the back foot up. Any amount, spread the toes, hold it there. Keep the breath flowing effortlessly through you. Secondary stretch, you probably feel something on the outer right hip. And release. Take a big breath in, lift up. Exhale, fold. So you're stretching your outer hip on the front leg. Fold any amount here. Inhale, ripple up. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, ripple up, and release. Go ahead and change sides. Okay, so you're essentially creating 90-degree angles from hip to knee to heel on both legs. Strong, clear, definitive flexion through the ankles. Spread your toes. Draw the left shoulder back. Take a full breath in, lengthen, exhale, round it. Squeeze the right buttock to shift this hip point forward in line with the other one. Then take another full breath in, exhale, lean forward, and pick up the back foot. Again, doesn't matter how high it gets, or if it doesn't even leave, just squeeze the buttocks, keep that length through your spine, breathe, soften through the shoulders, your jaw, everything, just breathe. And then inhale, release it, exhale, lengthen, lengthen, and fold, walk your hands forward, folding any amount here. And then go ahead and ripple up. Take it down again. Ripple up and release. Good. Come back to center. Okay. Stretch your legs out. Give them a good little shake up and down. Okay. So I know I said internal rotation, and we're going to get to that again, but I'm going to guide us into another outer hip stretch. So if you have, it has been said that this stretch I'm about to show you can be really good for sciatica, or if you find you have a really tight piriformis, or your outer hips feel super tight, this is a great glute stretch for the glutes, the outer glutes, the glute med and the glute mid. So this is a seated pigeon, or you can think of it as a seated figure four. If for whatever reason seated does not work for you, you are welcome to come down onto your back as we do this. So hands behind you, fingers can spin away from you. Bend your Keep your left leg straight, bend your right knee. And go ahead and allow your knee to collapse out towards the side. And then cross the ankle on top of, above the knee joint of your left foot. Now, this may already be a lot for some of us, but we're going to see if we can explore taking it a little bit further. I'm going to come up onto my fingertips and go ahead now and bend your left knee. And perhaps this is where you stay. The thing with this pose is there's a tendency to run through the spine. But when you run through the spine, you're taking all of that wonderful stretch away. So draw the head of the arm bones back and slide the shoulder blades down. Lift your chest up. If this is too intense, slide the foot further away from you. Remember I said that you can always come down onto your back, and I'll just show you really quickly what that can look like. So you can always choose to come here if being seated is too intense. But if you can manage it seated, please stay seated. Spread the toes of your right foot. Keep lifting your chest up. Take a full breath in. On the exhalation, guide your knee. So you're squeezing here. Guide the knee. Squeeze the buttocks and guide the knee away from you. Keep lifting the chest up. Shoulder blades are moving towards each other. And then sliding down. Chin back. Breathe a whole bunch here. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows, stretch the left leg long, and now take your right foot over to the left so that the knee moves down towards the earth. This is now coming into a half cow face pose, or Ardha Gomukhasana. I'm still flexing through the right foot. Take a full breath in, lengthen the spine, and on the exhalation, hinge from your hips and walk your hands forward. Press the bottom heel, the left heel down into the mat, and isometrically pull it towards your center. Stay here. You can use a strap around the base of the foot here to pull you deeper into this stretch. Just focus on your exhalations here. Deep, deep, deep breath in, and exhale, fold a little bit more deeply. Holding on to the foot, or just let your hands rest wherever they will comfortably. One more big inhale. Exhale, round it. Inhale, slowly unwind as you come all the way up. And exhale, let it go. Let's change sides. So, but before we do, give it a good little shake out. Excelente. Second side. Right leg straight and anchored. Bend your elbows. Bend your left knee. Go ahead and let the knee come out to the side. Kind of looks like a seated tree pose. And then cross the ankle above your right knee. Go ahead and bend your right knee any degree. Notice how you feel here. So before you go any further, take a moment. Hey Rocco, take a moment to check in and feel into your body. Remember, you can always stay right here. This is a lot. And also remember that you're not necessarily symmetrical. So one side may feel tighter or more open than the other. But spread the toes of your left foot. If you can bring the right heel closer to the buttocks, go right ahead, explore it. And again, you can always come down onto your back if you desire. Keep breathing deeply, shoulders, draw them back, slide them down, lift your chest up, draw your chin back. Full breath in, long, sweet, slow exhale. Why you want to focus on the exhalations here, make them really long, is so that you send the message to your nervous system that you're okay. You're not, there's tendency, especially when the stretch is really intense, to feel really panic and stressed. But we don't want to stress. We want to be stress-free as much as possible. To let these poses, these stretches do their work. All right? Go ahead and release it. So bend your elbows. If you are on your back, come on up, right? And now take the left foot. So the left heel is moving to your outer right hip. Strong, anchored. So you're pressing the heel down, and there's a slight bend to the knee as if you were standing. And you're scooching this foot as far over to the right. And again, elevate your hips if necessary. Move the inner thighs back. Let's go ahead. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Keep all that length, hinge from your hips, and exhale, fold forward any amount. I did mention using a strap. I'm too lazy to grab it. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But if you are working with a strap, Take the strap across the base, the ball of the foot, the baby toe, the big toe ball of the foot. Hold as close to the foot as you're able to do so without doing all this stuff to the neck and the shoulders. So if you are using your strap, draw the head of the arm bones back and down. Cinch the shoulder blades to the back of the heart. Puff breath into the back of the ribs. And then exhale, keep all that space, and then you fold more deeply into the stretch. Our Ardha Gomukhasana, or our half cow face pose. This is taking your hips to internal rotation. One more breath in. Exhale it out. Round it down and inhale. Slowly come back up and exhale, let it go. So we played with half Gomukhasana and let's do the full one. So both legs are going to wrap around each other like a bow. Now I personally find this a lot more comfortable sitting up on some height. You can also do this reclining. But for today, I'm going to show you seated first and then we'll go into the reclining option. All right, so I've elevated my hips on some height. I will take the left foot down first. So starting from here, think of this as a seated knees to chest, which essentially it is. Cross the right foot over the left. Just get it more or less out of your way. So starting with the left foot, you're gonna bring the left knee down to the point where it is, the knee's more pointing to the front of your mat, okay? And then the left knee will stack on top. I'm using air quotes because this may not necessarily be the case for some of us. And even if the knees are stacked on one side, it may not necessarily stack on the other side, but we work with what we've got. But, so the feet are coming outward, and even though you may not be able to flex your ankles with that definitive clear degree ankle, 90-degree angle at the 90-degree angle at the ankle, flex it to the capacity that you're able to. So the heels may kick up, okay? So we're gonna try our best to roll these inner thighs back. Got our internal rotation. This can already be a lot sitting up right here. There is an arm position that goes with this shape, but we're gonna leave that out for today and we're just gonna focus on the bottom half of the body. So wherever you are, perhaps you stay here and you can. Some friends like to hold on to the feet like that and kind of anchor you. Take a full breath in, another exhalation, hinge forward. You can play with that. I'm gonna creep forward with my fingertips, kind of like how we did in the half version. So anchor it down, and by that I mean take a breath in, and on the exhalation, press down, like send the breath down to the earth to really, really anchor and ground you. And then with that grounding, the next breath in, you're lifting the front sides and back of the ribs up. You can even do this. Inhale, lift it up, creating space, and then you hinge from your hips and fold forward. Now make sure your sitting bones don't leave whatever you're sitting on, whether it's your block or your prop, and you come into the fold. I'm gonna go back a little bit. So obviously, or maybe not so obviously, the deeper you fold, the more intense the stretch. So you can work your way into a deeper stretch. I'm so respectful of these cats, right? Hold it here, breathe full and wide through the back of the body. One more breath in. Exhale it all the way down into the center of the earth. Inhale, slowly uncurl and come back up. Exhale, release. Let's change sides. So I always give myself a little hand here, just like that. It's almost like unraveling the legs. Okay, so let's just do a quick little flush out, a little shake out. I don't know what that was. All right, second side. So we had the left leg under before, now the right leg will go under, so we'll stretch the outer left hip. So right knee facing forward. It's so weird with the block sometimes, it kind of gets in the way. And then cross the left over. Again, creeping the top knee over towards a stacked alignment, working wherever you are. As you may notice, I'm not stacked here, and I'm also getting a little bit rotated through my pelvis. I'm just gonna organize myself a bit better here. I'm not worried about the stacking of the knees, and you shouldn't either. What's more important here is feeling grounded, and both sitting bones are flat on the surface that you're sitting upon, and that your low back curve is present. Flex the ankles. Let's go for it. Full breath in, lengthen. Keep all that length. Exhale, hinge, and oi, this is about as far as I'm gonna go right here with this side. Whew, my left hip is talking to me in all sorts of languages, and it's not all good. I'm pretty sure a few cuss words came out in that. But we breathe through it, we take note, and we honor where we are. One more breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, let it go. Carefully unravel your legs. I promise to show you this reclined, so let's do that. I honestly find that the reclined version is really, really more forgiving, and there is a greater possibility of spending more time in it. So reclining is a good option to take if the legs crossing above the knee joint doesn't work out so much. That in and of itself can be challenging. And you can always play with it here. I've had students cross at the shin because the crossing of the thighs wasn't working out so great. So there's ways to play with it. So on your back, draw your knees into your chest and just hug it in or hug it out and rock a little bit from side to side. Good. Slow that rock down until you come to stillness. Go ahead and cross the right leg over the left. Okay? Crossing above the knee joint or crossing where you can cross. I honestly cannot obviously speak to the crossing here because I can cross above my knees, but you're welcome to try it. Some of us who have bigger, or should I say more voluptuous and curvaceous thighs, really, really lovely, well-developed hamstrings and quads, the above the knee cross can be challenging. So that's when those friends would cross here or cross one leg over to whatever degree and work it that way. So play with it. Try different variations. You know that what you're aiming for is to feel a sensation in the outer hip of the leg that's on top. So just work with it, okay? Whatever shows up, work with it. So I'm gonna cross above and then bend both knees. Remember, you may be here, all right? So once you've crossed, your left hand is gonna hold on either to the shin, at the ankle, or the baby toe side edge of the foot, and the right is gonna hold on to the left. Now, if your hands are not reaching to any of those parts that I mentioned, but you can get your hands to this knee or to this shin, hold there. The point is to hold wherever you can actually hold, and then guide the feet down and out just as they would have been had you been seated. Now, what I like to do with this is as I'm pulling down, draw the attention to the inner thighs and roll the inner thighs back. That is when you're gonna feel that stretch of the outer right hip. I'm gonna try it here. I do feel a little bit, but it's not as intense. But again, I can't truthfully, honestly speak to that, but I do know that in the past I have had students try it and they did feel a stretch. Again, if reclined or Supta Gomukhasana does not work for you at all, you always have this version here. Okay, don't forget that. Then let's change sides. Cross or come into that reclined pigeon. Hold on to wherever you can connect. Guide it down, roll the inner thighs back. That action of rolling the inner thighs back helps to lift the low back off, so you get that curve. So the low back and the top of the sacrum is coming off as you spin the inner thighs back, and hello, stretch an outer left hip. Good. Again, now let's see. If you cross below, yeah, there you go. I would definitely say if you're going for Gomukhasana and the thighs crossing above the knee joint doesn't work, come here. This is a much better option, and I know that you will get that outer hip stretch, okay? If you try a variation of cow face pose where you're feeling the stretch but your legs are not necessarily crossed above the knee joint, please share with me, because I really like to find ways of helping students access poses so they can have a similar experience. We can all have a similar experience. So that would really be awesome. So once you stretch your hips all the way out, one more. Can you name this shape? It's my absolute favorite. It's my main squeeze, my go-to shape. It's called, drum roll please, constructive rest. So feet wide, knees fall in. Again, getting that internal rotation through the hips. Hands can be wherever you want them to be. This has been my most recent go-to. Arms in a diamond shape, one palm in the next. And then just hold it here and breathe. Stay here for as long as you can. All you have to do is focus on your breath. When you are ready to let this go, all you have to do is separate your knees. Align your heels from parallel to more inward, and then stretch both legs out nice and wide. And you can choose to leave your arms where they are or bring them alongside your body for a Shavasana. Okay? So that is I don't know how quick that actually was, but that was a nice little practice to stretch your outer hips and to take your hips into internal rotation and hopefully free up some stagnant energy, maybe loosen up the joint a little bit more, maybe help to unlock the pelvis and the low back and give you a bit more mobility and fluidity. I hope you enjoy that. And remember, please let me know any variation of cow face pose you've tried, seated or reclined, so I can learn. I'm learning from you as much as you're learning from me. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Meeks.